translation of the Quran.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyuzhinahu ala dini kullihi wa kafa billahi syahida. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'dah. Berjumpa lagi dengan channel saya Mars Techno. Saya doakan semoga semua sahabat dalam keadaan sehat selalu. Pada video kali ini kami akan menampilkan video mengenai Presiden Amerika Serikat yang ketiga, yaitu Thomas Jefferson, yang ternyata beliau ini mempunyai salinan Al-Quranul Karim. Dari catatan surat kabar, beliau membelinya di tahun 1765. Nah sahabat, mari kita saksikan bersama-sama videonya dan saya hanya sedikit mereaksinya.
Hi, I'm Joan Neuberger, editor of Not Even Past, and today we're here with Denise Spielberg. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Joan.
Denise is a specialist in Islamic history, the history of the Islamic world, and she has written a brand new book that's just out called Thomas Jefferson's Quran, Islam and the Founders. It's a brand new way of looking at Thomas Jefferson. How did you find out that Thomas Jefferson had a Quran?
Well, actually, there was an article that was titled How Thomas Jefferson Read the Quran, which I wasn't expecting to find. But also, of course, Thomas Jefferson's Quran was used by our first Muslim Congressman, Keith Ellison, in his private swearing-in ceremony. I knew that Jefferson had a Quran, but when there was the media attention over its actual use by an American congressman, I couldn't believe it had survived. So there was the finding out part that he owned it, and then there was the fact that it still existed. So that meant immediately that I wanted to see it. But I also wanted to set it in context of Jefferson's intellectual life and his diplomatic life and his thoughts about religion.
And actually the book takes each of those topics one at a time, right?
Yeah, in fact, Jefferson is probably the founder who had the most complicated and interesting interaction with ideas about Islam and even with Muslims. He met two Muslim ambassadors during his lifetime. He negotiated with both of them, one in London in 1786 and another one he had at the White House during the first Tunisian ambassador to the United States, the first Muslim ambassador to the U.S., who came to Washington and even had a state dinner with Jefferson at the White House in 1805.
Well, let's back up a little bit. How did Jefferson acquire the Quran? Did he buy it?
Good
How did he find
question.
it?
Yeah, in Williamsburg, we see that there is attested in the local newspaper, the Williamsburg Gazette, which was also the bookseller, a line written by someone else that actually says Thomas Jefferson sales Quran, 2 volumes, and it was 16 shillings. He bought it in 1765, and that's what the records tell us from that newspaper. So 11 years before he wrote the Declaration of Independence, he was buying a lot of books. But this one was the most famous translation of the Quran, the only one that directly translated from Arabic into English. And he knew that an Englishman had done it and wanted to buy it. So it was sent to Virginia from London.
So he knew something about Islam and its holy book before he bought it. Or do we know that?
We don't know that, actually. And the interesting thing is that he had this Quran with a 200-page introduction that was one of the best introductions to Islam, one of the least distorted then available. But unlike other books, he didn't, we don't think or know, take notes on his reading of the Quran in 1765. And that might be because there was a fire 5 years later that destroyed all his books and papers. So there's even the possibility that this book he repurchased, that he might have bought the Quran twice, because it does survive and we still have it.
And almost all his books were destroyed in that fire,
Yes,
right?
that's right. He says almost all my books were destroyed in papers. And he said if it had been money, I wouldn't have thought about it, but he really lamented that. So this was a period of time when he was taking notes on important texts. And he may have taken notes on the Quran, but perhaps they were burned. We don't know.
Well, you are arguing in the book that Islam had his study of Islam and his interaction with Muslims had a major impact on his thinking about what kind of state the United States should be, and the role of the religion in citizenship. did this study of Islam have an impact on his ideas about religious toleration? Do you think it was fundamental to his ideas of religious toleration?
Well, actually, it seems as if he was very much like other founders, some other founders, but men of his time, in that what he wrote about Islam was not often complimentary, and sometimes it was wrong, which suggests that he wasn't a true student of the religion, although he was clearly interested. But the notion of the relationship between religion and the state, and it devolved upon the idea that Muslims might one day be citizens. And this is an idea he acquired by buying another book, basically, by reading John Locke, who was his hero. And we know that Jefferson thought about Muslims as potential citizens because in 1776, a few months after writing the Declaration of Independence, he makes a note in his personal papers, and he records that Locke said, "Neither pagan nor Mohammedan," meaning Muslim, "nor Jew ought to be excluded from the rights of the Commonwealth because of his religion." So even that early he was thinking about it. And even earlier in 1765, while still a law student, which is one of the reasons he bought the Quran, or he was immersed in legal studies, we see that he took notes for his cases based on laws from around the world. And so since many people thought the Quran was a book of laws, and really only that, he probably used it for that reason. But at the same time, he encountered a legal precedent, an earlier British legal precedent that said that Muslims were not perpetual enemies in British legal thought. And he wrote that down. He wrote that precedent down too. So this was a world in which there were Muslims. Muslims had been in contact with the English for a very long time through trade and other peaceful means, as well as through some forms of naval conflict.
So he develops these ideas on the basis of reading Locke and on the basis of these other, reading the Quran probably earlier.
Yes.
But then, as you said, he has interaction with Muslim diplomats
Yeah, he
and
does.
statesmen. Did that change the way or reinforce his ideas, or how does that impact his ideas?
It's interesting because at the time, John Adams talked about, after independence, there was a problem with our fleets in the Mediterranean and the Atlantic commercial fleets being preyed upon by these North African corsairs who happened to be Muslim. And he and Adams interviewed an ambassador in London from Tripoli about this, trying to put an end to this kind of depredation. And the fact is that Americans didn't have the money to pay for a peace treaty that would have kept them safe. And whereas Adams sees this conflict in religious terms, Jefferson saw it in completely pragmatic terms. Even at the end of his life, he doesn't use Islam as a lens through which to feel that these pirates were anything other than lawless. All pirates were lawless. And he had written earlier legislation about pirates that probably, or losses at sea, that probably referred to the British during the Revolutionary War. So he was thinking in universal categories, but he wanted to end the conflict. So on the one hand, he thought a preemptive military strike would be good. On the other hand, he had these ideas about individual Muslims, at least theoretically, as future citizens. So there are complications in his thought. And they are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Selesai. Semoga bermanfaat. Terima kasih telah menonton video sampai selesai. Mohon maaf jika ada terjemahan yang kurang tepat. Dukung channel ini dengan like, subscribe, dan share. Masya Allah, sebuah video yang sangat menarik mengenai kisah seorang Presiden Amerika Serikat yang ketiga yang bernama Thomas Jefferson. Tanpa kita sangka, ternyata beliau mempunyai salinan kitab suci Al-Quran. Menurut catatan surat kabar, beliau membelinya di tahun 1975. Video ini merupakan wawancara dari seorang John Norberg, seorang editor dari Northern Post, bersama Dennis, seorang spesialis dalam sejarah Islam, sejarah dunia Islam. Dalam sebuah buku yang dikarang oleh Dennis, Thomas Jefferson, Quran, Islam and Founder, dikatakan Al-Quran tersebut pernah digunakan oleh anggota Kongres Amerika Serikat yang merupakan anggota Kongres Muslim pertama, yaitu Kate Ellison. Tepatnya dalam sumpah pelantikan pribadinya, dia menggunakan Al-Quran yang dimiliki oleh Presiden Amerika Serikat ketiga. Dalam karir politiknya, Jefferson memiliki interaksi dengan duta-duta besar Islam dalam kehidupannya. Dalam catatan surat kabar, Jefferson membeli Al-Quran tersebut di Williamsburg yang dapat kita buktikan dalam surat kabar lokal. Nah sahabat, mungkin itu saja sedikit video reaksi dari saya. Mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.